Okay, let's talk about a true nightmare scenario for pretty much any business out there. Imagine your most trusted partner, the one you pay to protect your digital fortress, suddenly becomes the very weapon that brings it all crashing down. Well, that's not some hypothetical. It's exactly what just happened in a massive ransomware attack that used a single relationship to cause this catastrophic chain reaction.
Wow. I mean, this single line from the incident reports, it really says it all, doesn't it? It's just a chilling reminder of how connected and maybe how fragile our digital world really is. All it took was one key, one single point of failure. And this is the number that just hits you, 28. That's not just some statistic. We're talking about 28 different financial companies, banks, insurers, you name it, completely paralyzed by one single event.
Yeah, we're calling this the MSP nightmare, and for good reason. An MSP, a managed service provider, is supposed to be your digital guardian angel. But in this story, they became the ultimate Trojan horse.
All right, so let's get into the anatomy of this heist. The incident is now being called the Korean leaks, and we're going to break it down. Who was pulling the strings, who was the main target, and who ultimately paid the price. So the whole thing really boils down to three key players. First, you've got the attackers, a ransomware group known as Qilin. Then, the target, one single managed service provider in South Korea. And finally, the victims, a huge net of 28 of that MSP's financial clients. You see, the attackers didn't have to hack 28 different companies. Nope. They just had to find one way in. And just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, here's the twist. The investigation is now showing potential links to Moonstone Sleet, which is a group with ties to the North Korean state. So suddenly, this isn't just a crime for profit, it's got major geopolitical fingerprints all over it. So the big question, right? How did they actually pull this off? How do you take a relationship that is built on trust and turn it into such a devastating weapon? Let's get into the mechanics of how it all went down.
The key thing you have to understand here is this term, a supply chain attack. It's like instead of trying to storm a heavily fortified castle head-on, you just poison its food and water supply. In our digital world, that supplier is often a vendor, like an MSP.
And the attack? It followed this devastatingly simple four-step playbook. First, Qilin gets into the MSP. Step 2, they hijack its privileged access. We're talking master keys to all their clients' kingdoms. Third, and this is the really nasty part, they used the MSP's own trusted tools to push out their ransomware. And finally, they just flipped the switch, paralyzing all 28 clients at the exact same time. Okay, look, that is a terrifying story. But we're not just here to talk about the problem, we're here to talk about preparation. So let's pivot. What can you actually do to stop this from happening to your organization? Well, what the experts recommend is a pretty clear 4-point plan. It really comes down to demanding transparency, locking down access, watching everything, and this is a big one, planning for the absolute worst-case scenario. So let's start with transparency. This is not about just taking your MSP's word that they're secure. You need proof. You should be asking for their SOC 2 reports, which are audits of their security. Request to see the results from their latest pen tests. And please, review their incident response plan. You need to know if they even have one. Next up, you've got to lock things down. It's called the principle of least privilege. And it just means your MSP should only have access to the bare minimum they need to do their job, not the keys to everything. And then you have to monitor that access. If their account logs in at 3 in the morning on a Saturday to run some weird script, you better believe alarms should be going on. And this last one, honestly, this might be the most crucial point of all. You have to have a plan B. Your own internal incident response plan can't depend on your MSP, because what if they're the source of the fire? Who do you call when your first call for help is the very partner who's been compromised? So, as we wrap this up, it really leaves us with this fundamental conflict at the heart of the modern IT partnership. You could call it the partner paradox. Think of it like a double-edged sword, right? On one side, your MSP is a massive strength. They manage all the complexity, they deploy security for you, they're a trusted partner. But on the other side, every single one of those strengths creates a potential weakness. Centralized management, that's a single point of failure. Privileged access, that's a master key for hackers. And being a trusted partner, that just makes them a giant flashing target. At the end of the day, the lesson from the Korean leaks couldn't be clearer. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And in one of these supply chain attacks, a single compromised partner can cause dozens of breaches. It's a domino effect. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about for your own organization. If you use an MSP, if you trust any third party with the keys to your kingdom, when was the last time you really, truly audited their security?